you can join back using the same link. Okay, so I think like let's just start. So what I draw and what I'll be teaching you guys, I guess, is how to draw portraits on your phone. And like, fair warning, I use an iPhone. You can use the same thing if you have an iPhone or if you have an iPad. And if you have a Samsung, like they do still have ways in which you can access the notes app, or like, you know, draw freehand. So you can use the same like skills, but you won't obviously be able to use the exact same tools. The accessing the tools and understanding the tools is very, very straightforward. So there's not too much to know about that, but I will go through them. But the idea is mostly just to understand how to make faces. Like that's what I'll be telling you guys, like tips and tricks around how you can make faces and how you can access the phone screen in such a way it doesn't get too confusing or too difficult. So let's just start. The first thing that I wanted to show you guys is this. Just let me know that you can see my screen and everything. Somebody just let me know in the chat so that I can fix it if you guys can't see. Can someone just confirm that you guys can see my screen? You can't see it? Like, wait, let me stop it and start sharing again. Oh no. Okay, so I'm just going to continue. So you know how in your so I'll just continue talking while Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so the relevant stuff for you guys is jo notes. I'll just be quick because we wasted like 10 minutes on this. I'm so sorry. But the relevant part for you guys is जो notes app के नीचे वाले area में आता है एक phone एक ये pen वाला icon आ रहा है. If you press on it, I'll show you guys what it shows, and then we can go from there. It's very straightforward, the tools and everything that you guys need. Okay, so there's a pen icon. I personally, I really don't use the pencil icon because it's not like, it depends on the kind of work that you guys want to do yourself, of course. Like it's very personal. The pen icon, I usually use that, and I use the highlighter icon, and the kind of effect they give is fairly obvious with the high. So if I'm usually drawing details on somebody's face, I want to make larger shadows, I want to cover a wider range, but I want to give a softer looking effect, then you use the highlighter icon. If you want, a sharper line, you use the pen. But also keep in mind that with both of those situations, like, you can decide the kind of, if you just press on the pen or on the highlighter, you can decide the kind of thickness or the kind of saturation of the color that you want, and based on that you can make changes by yourself. Okay, so the tools by itself when you're drawing on your phone are very, very straightforward. There's not much complication about them. There's nothing difficult to understand here. But what I'll be talking to you guys about during this session is more or less going to be about the technical aspect of, like, how do you go about making faces. Okay, and this is how I like to start. So just somebody please confirm that you can see this, and then I'll go from there. Okay, perfect. So what I usually do is, like, I always make portraits using 5 vertical lines and 7 horizontal lines. Okay, and I understand that this is like not that technical, and because I'm drawing on my phone, there's not much technical stuff going on here. So I'm just trying to give you guys an understanding of how to get details into your drawing when you're drawing on a very small screen. Okay, so I'm using the Photos app or the Notes app. Like, it's very, very straightforward. But you can also download an app called Autodesk Sketchbook, which can be downloaded onto your iPhone or your Samsung, and the same rules apply. The idea, and it's also very straightforward, like the pen icon and the highlighter icon, and it has different pens and all that are very, very straightforward. You can just change them based on, like, your own preferences. But how you should go about drawing something that has a lot of detail when you are drawing on your phone, I would always recommend this. And this is again very specifically for if you're drawing faces, if you're drawing portraits. If you're drawing other items, like, you can come up with your own kinds of divisions, but the division aspect of things makes everything much easier to sort through. Okay, so when I'm drawing like this, I usually will make the top line that I use is for, let's see if I can write on this. Yeah, so this line that I just drew a blue line on, I always use this for eyebrows. This line that I'm now drawing on is for eyes, nose, your upper lip, top lip, bottom lip, and chin. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward. It's very intuitive. Like, you can understand. I literally, like, even just using these two icons, जो मेरी इसी screen पे आ रहे हैं, you could have started drawing whatever you wanted on this. ठीक है, when you're drawing and this, I'm creating this division for somebody who's looking straight forward, or jiske muh pe light bhi aage se pad rahi hai, like, think of a passport photo. So this would be where your eyes would go, and this would be where your nose would go. Okay, and when you're making portraits, like, in order to make them realistic, like, always remember that the distance of your nose and the distance, this distance and the distance of your eyes, all three of these will usually be the same, and this will be 3/4 of the distance that is, like, your nose and your eyes, if that's making sense. If a person is looking straight forward, their nose will cover the same width as each of their eyes, and the area on the side of their eyes will cover around 3/4 of that same distance. Okay, let me just share with you guys a video that I quickly made of how, if I just have this exact layout that I've created, and you will notice that the lines were made extra long just for the purpose of you can erase them later. Okay, so let me quickly share a video with you of, if you have this kind of setup layout, how can you convert that into a video. um yes, okay, so for example, if I have this, okay, now you'll notice that this is like one of the, again, can somebody just confirm that you guys can see this? Okay, so if you have this was one of the first drawings that I ever made, and it was made using the same like lines concept. So if you have, you can note, see over here, I've drawn these lines pehle se, and the ruler jo niche maine aap logon ko bar dikhaya tha, yes, I am using my fingers, but if you have an iPhone or you have an iPad, you can use an Apple Pen, which is very convenient, and you can get much more detail into everything that you're drawing. Okay, so if you have this kind of layout created, you can just create your own kind of, and this is not a good drawing by any means, I'm just trying to show you like how the lines are created. Jab aap lines bana dete ho, it becomes very very easy for you to fit everything into it, which makes it easier because this screen is going to be super small, so you won't really have the option of, जिस तरह अगर मैं zoom in करूँ तो मुझे नहीं नजर आ रहा कि eyes और nose और lips वगैरह किधर हैं. So I have to create this layout before if I want to get the right kind of shape and size for everything that I'm drawing, so that when I zoom out it makes sense. Okay, and this is the most like straightforward way of drawing, obviously, because this person is looking directly forward and the light is reflecting completely back on them. But if the person was looking sideways या जो भी, which I'll like the portraits that I've recently made, उनमें फिर the person is looking sideways, so उसमें फिर you can change the setup around as you wish. ठीक है, so again, like, this is not so much technical direction because there's not much technical stuff going on when you're making a portrait on your iPhone using two tools. I'm just trying to help you understand, like, अगर आपने कुछ बहुत छोटी screen पे कुछ बनाना है, how are you going to be able to make sure कि जब आपने zoom in किया है to add this particular detail in the eye, कि वो आप इस तरह ना बनाओ कि वो out of proportion with the rest of the face चला जाए. ठीक है, so does that make sense, or does anybody have any questions about like how to create this, or like what this requires or anything like that? Like, let me know in the chat box. And let me just quickly share with you another picture, which is going to be a more recent portrait that I made. Usme phir I'll explain to you like how the okay, sure. Can everybody see this? Okay, so let's go into the chat box. Okay, do you have to be a good artist to make this, or do you do this by tracing? Like, I do it by like just looking. So for example, agar main isi picture ko main aapko dikha rahi hu, ठीक है, so when I looked at this, wait, let's zoom in, then open the pen feature. So when I looked at this picture of Karina, that makes it sound funny. When I looked at it, what I do is it takes a lot of trial and error to make it. Okay, so again, I'm sorry if like you guys are looking for more technical stuff. This is not going to be that technical. It's mostly explaining to you how you can get life and features into something that's a very small screen, and like you are trying to essentially recreate somebody's face onto a blank piece of paper जहाँ पे आपके पास पेन नहीं है कि आप लोग like मतलब आपके पास पूरी पिक्चर की विजन नहीं है कि आप लोग like उसका assessment कर सको कि किस जगह पे क्या put down करना है. ठीक है, so this is how I initially made it. Like, I created an outline for her face शुरू में, so then I knew कि मैंने जो भी fit in करना है मैंने इसी के बीच में करना है. Then I understood कि अगर उसकी face की width एक particular angle की है तो उसकी फेस की लेंथ फिर उससे like around 2/3 ज़्यादा मुझे लग रही थी. So that's the kind of rectangular box that I created in which I fit my own screen so that I could know कि मैंने इसी screen में भी अगर रहूँ then I can make something like that. ठीक है, now you look at the division of her face from her eyebrows to the tip of her nose and downwards. ठीक है, you can see कि उसकी the tip of her nose and her eyebrows, इन दोनों के आपस में ये 3 में almost एक equal division है with a little bit more space for her nose. ठीक है, so that's how you start creating. Just if you divide it like that, it becomes very easy for anybody to recreate the same things. ठीक है, so from her eyebrows upwards and from the tip of her nose downwards, it's the exact same space. और फिर उसकी नाक के लिए बीच में थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा जगह. ठीक है, now I know कि she is not looking directly at me. She's looking a little bit from a tilted angle. So how do I make sure that I am able to execute that without like distorting her features? ठीक है, so I draw this line here and this line here. This of course I drew on a blank paper before I started making her. Okay, and it's very easy to delete these lines, so don't like your iPhone setting will have an option where you can delete the entire object. So if I wanted to, for example, iska bhi eraser leke, I could just have deleted this entire line. So even if that line is in the middle of your drawing, don't worry about it. अब उसके बाद मैं और डिविजन्स करनी शुरू होगी. जस्ट व्हेन आई हैव सीन दैट दिस इज द बॉक्स आई हैव क्रिएटेड, मुझे पता है कि मैंने जो लेफ्ट साइड वाला बॉक्स है उसमें ज़्यादा जगह छोड़ दी है और जो राइट साइड वाला बॉक्स है उसमें कम जगह छोड़ दी है. तो देन आई कैन स्टार्ट filling, literally all I have to do is fill stuff in. I know कि उसकी नाक इस जगह से आएगी और इधर जाएगी like this. So अगर मैं उसको बिल्कुल roughly भी करूँ तो that's how it's going to look, in the sense कि मैंने सिर्फ ये shape बनानी है. So you don't necessarily need skill to create it, you just need to be able to understand how to make this shape. With her eyes you need to understand कि उसकी eye की shape ये है तो बस इस तरह बना दो. All you guys have to do at the start before filling stuff in is make sure कि the placement of your, like the placement of the people that you're making is correct. Uske baad, adding shade and light is not difficult because, as I've explained, the marker feature on your phones, whether you're using an iPhone or an Apple phone, it's going to be very, very straightforward and easy for everybody to understand. And उसके बाद you just have to create the outline. अगर उसकी आपने आंखों और नाक को lay down कर दिया है, even the lips are easy. You just have to make sure कि आप शक्ल को, even इसमें मैंने शक्ल गलती से थोड़ी सी distort कर दी है because her face is not as rounded out as it appears here. But you just have to make sure that the face you're outlining is the right kind of face. ठीक है? उसके बाद आप चाहे zoom out भी करो. अगर मैं इसको देखूँ तो मुझे already नजर आ रहा है कि ये जो layout create हुआ है, this is the right kind of layout for if I wanted to keep sketching her face, I could create an outline of the whole thing. I hope that's making sense. Like, there's going to be a lot of trial and error involved. You're not going to be able to, achieve the perfect face in the first try, but it's not difficult. And on my on the Google Classroom tab, I'll upload a couple of process videos, both of me sketching out somebody from scratch and of me creating like a person, ye sara kuch sketch out karte hue, after having created the initial sketch. So you guys can see, like, learn more from there. Like, I'm not able to share videos from my phone, so I can't share on the screen right now, but I'll be able to, you guys will be able to see कि like एक बंदे की शक्ल ये layout create करके उनकी शक्ल fill in कैसे करते हैं और उसके बाद उसमें colors और ये details वगैरह किस तरह डालते हैं. Beyond that, like, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But also, Tareem asked me to talk about work opportunities that can come from this. So the facts are that I initially just started out drawing on paper, and I very recently started drawing digitally because during lockdown I didn't have sketchbook paper anymore, and I've always wanted to learn how to draw on Photoshop and Illustrator. But I felt like that was a big leap because of course you need to buy equipment and all that. So usse pehle I wanted to know if I even had the skills to do it. और शुरू में बहुत गंदी बनती थी, as in like एक आंख और like एक आंख कहीं पे है, नाक कहीं पे है, lips कहीं पे. If you keep drawing, and like this applies beyond portraits too, whatever you're drawing on your phone, just think about the fact that you want to create a grid system well enough for yourself that when you zoom in, even the proportion of things does not escape you, if that makes sense. And I hope that's making sense to you guys. If you have any questions, do let me know. Okay, work opportunities. So the opportunities that I've gotten so far are usually people wanting portraits for their families, friends, or whatever. But what you guys can go for, if this is something that interests you, is things like logo design is very easy on your laptop, and logo design on your phone, I'm sorry, and logo design is something that pays very well. So if you guys can understand, like how to put a company aesthetic into a logo, you don't even need Photoshop or Illustrator or anything like that to learn a skill like that. You can very, very easily make them on your phone, on so how I used to just make them on my notes app, but then I realized that people didn't like the grainy texture piche. So people didn't like the grainy texture picture, so then I would just take a picture of whichever color the whatever client would want a picture on, and uske upar hi sketch karna shuru kar deti. Okay, so you guys can make money very easily, and there's obviously not much investment that goes into it. Everybody does have a phone, so you guys can very easily start. This session got a little cut up, I'm so sorry, but I'll upload the process videos for both the sketching and the filling in part on the Google Classroom app, and then you guys can go through it. And when we have our next session, I would like if like a few of you, if you're interested in this, or if this is something that's interesting you, like try out something on your own, like draw something, and then we can share it in the classroom, and you guys can talk about like what difficulty you faced, because until and unless you draw on your own, you're not really going to be able to understand कि इसमें कितनी आसानी होती है और कितनी मुश्किल होती है. So I think that's that. I don't think we really need to start another meeting because, as I said, like there's not much technical skill here. It's just about like getting the grid system right and then filling in the features. How do you draw thin lines and details with your fingers? So look, if I zoom in, and the Photos app, if you take a screenshot, by the way, usko aap kafi zoom in kar sakte ho. If you just download like the background slide from Google, to usko aap zoom in nahi kar sakoge. So make sure कि आप जो भी background, जिस तरह मैंने white paper की पहले download की picture, and then I took a screenshot because you can zoom in more on your phone with a screenshot. उसके ऊपर you can zoom in to such a great extent, and if I wanted to, I can, using the tip of my finger, get quite a lot of detail, if even if I was just sketching this. Okay, so it's, detail is not that difficult, but you will have to do a lot of trial and error, and you will have to like practice a bunch of times in order to get this right. This isn't like Photoshop or Illustrator where it's more about learning the tools. This is pretty much like you're drawing on paper but with your hands, and the tools are very straightforward. Literally anybody can access it, and if you're someone that's interested in understanding digital design and all that, I think that this is a vital first step, so that you can know कि, you know, skills or सब कुछ है, or like interest है, passion है, are you willing to put in the work before you go out and buy a bunch of expensive equipment, or you know, start like get the software even, and like confuse yourself कि like मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही how to proceed from this. So I hope that makes sense. Before our next session, watch the process videos, draw something like your favorite celebrity, yourself, a friend, anybody, like animals, whatever you like. Like even you can go ahead and design logos or something for like existing brands, whatever you think is fun. And then in our next meeting, we can share them and talk about them and like what your experience was. If you want to screen record your own process, and like it'll be interesting for you to watch and interesting for me to watch as well in our next session. So I think that's that. Is there any more questions or anything like that? If you guys think of questions later, you can ask them on the Google Classrooms app. Can I quickly draw an outline of a face right now? Yeah, sure. You guys can still see my screen, right? Okay, so if I wanted to draw an outline of a screen right now, of a face, sorry. If I'm zoomed into here, okay, I would usually start with, वही जिस तरह मैंने अभी grades की बात की है, I start with making these 5 lines हमेशा. Then I make 7 lines either. This would be eyebrows, this would be eyes, a little bit down nose, lips, and then, you know, ये like दोनों lips or like one, whichever it is, ठीक है? Sorry, Zoom has a little bit of a different system, so ठीक है, it won't allow me to zoom in more than that, so I can't get too much of detail, but like you can see, ठीक है, बहुत भी अगर मैं basic भी बनाऊँ ना, when I'm sketching it out later, which you'll see in the process video I upload, that it all the detail all matters for when you actually create something on your, like when you're filling in the details of the sketch that you're making. If the meeting ends in between, everyone please rejoin. Yeah, sure. Then I'll just like get a blank canvas and like we can actually sketch something out in like 10ish minutes if that's something anybody's interested in seeing. But abhi bhi I'm drawing the same. As you can see, it's very rough. Ek to because it won't let me zoom in more, but also because I like to fill in the details for when I'm actually sketching. Okay? I just want to see, like I just want to have a basic sense कि मैंने किधर क्या चीज draw करनी है. ठीक है, this would be the nose, this would be, sorry, yeah. So if I, for example, I think actually maybe we can start the meeting again for just like 5ish minutes, so I can give you guys some kind of understanding of like how to change the way a person is looking or like the shape of a person's face. A person's forehead is usually the same distance between their eyes and their nose, so like this would be their head, and then like you can go ahead making your like whatever you want on top. Okay, so does that, I hope that helps, or like if I do this then it just shows up like this, but I hope that helps. It's just like a basic how you fill in the grids, and if I erase the lines niche jo sari bani hui hai, then it would just show me the face by itself. So I hope that helped. If you guys have any questions about how I even did this, let me know. Okay, do we need to rejoin after the end of this meeting? Tareem, could you let me know, like should I make the same thing again but like in more detail, or like should we just end the meeting now? If I could walk you guys through portrait, okay, fine, good. So like then I think once this meeting ends, which it's about to, we can